Welcome to this edition of the Native News Update. I'm your host for today's edition, Paul Demain. Many of the stories and information here can be found at our website at www.indiancountrynews.com, where your online membership helps support this television station. Here are some of the news updates for the day from the Associated Press and other Native American news sources around the country. The Klamath Tribes of Oregon will buy 90,000 acres of their former reservation from the Southern Oregon Company Cascade Timberlands. The tract represents a fraction of the reservation of 2.5 million acres the tribe had and owned less than a century ago. But it is thick with lodgepole pine, and the tribal officials say they hope it will be used to revive the timber industry that once sustained their tribe. Under the agreement announced, the tribes will pay $21 million for the acreage. The tribes say they want to pay for the land with some of the federal funding they receive. Nearly a decade after the NAACP condemned a virtual whiteout in broadcast TV, the civil rights group said major networks have stalled in their efforts to further ethnic diversity on screen and off. Television shows of the future could be even less inclusive because of a failure to cultivate young minority stars and to bring minorities into decision-making positions, NAACP President and CEO Benjamin Todd Jella said. The effect on the country could be profound, he says. This is America. So goes TV, so goes reality. We don't think it's any accident that before we had a black president in reality, we had a black president on TV, he said, referring to the chief executive portrayed by Dennis Haysbert on Fox's 24. In the report recently released, the NAACP calls on networks to revisit a 2000-year agreement to diversify the ranks of actors, writers, directors, and executives. It also seeks to establish a task force with network executives, the NAACP, and other civil rights groups. The report raises the possibility of political action if progress is lacking, including a boycott against an unspecified network and its major advertisers, or class action litigation against the networks and parent companies. The Native American Journalists Association student chapter at the University of Arizona released its first ever journal, Native Perspectives, this December at the Cellar Restaurant in the Student Union Memorial Center on campus there. Students on campus from several tribes in the United States and non-Native students collaborated in coming up with story ideas and then going out and getting them. The 12-page journal includes news articles written by both journalism and non-journalism students, essays, and interviews to help inform students at the University of Arizona and Greater Tucson community about indigenous peoples of that region. There's a new chief executive for the Mille Lacs Band of Ojibwe at Onamea, Minnesota. Marge Anderson was chosen in a special election held this month. Anderson previously served as chief executive from 1991 through the year 2000. During her tenure, she led the development of the Grand Casino Mille Lacs and Grand Casino Hinckley. She also led the effort to build new schools, clinics, housing, and other infrastructure on the reservation. The special election was called after former chief executive Melanie Benjamin was removed from office in October. An 18-month investigation found that Benjamin had allegedly put thousands of dollars in tribal funds to personal use. Anderson has been serving on the band's tribal government for over 20 years. The Mille Lacs Band of Minnesota has more than 4,000 enrolled members within its tribe. The young man wore loose jeans slung low on his hips. The hems were worn and frayed and wet from being trampled on rain-soaked sidewalks. A large black sweatshirt flopped over his shoulders and arms. It was 7:30 a.m. in the morning and he needed help. Don Hatch welcomed the teenager into a courtroom in the Tulalip tribe's courthouse in the state of Washington and told him to sit down. Before long, the young man faced Hatch and two other Tulalip elders. The team seemed hopeful that the elders would do all the talking, but the elders refused to let him slide. "We're going to try to get you back in school," Elder Topash said. Elder Lee Topash said. The teen made eye contact with each elder. He answered their questions as best he could. At the end of his time, he walked around the table and gave each person a warm hug. For the young men and others who appear before the Tulalip tribe's elder court, the Board of Senior Citizens who offer grandparent-like advice is their last hope at starting adult life with a clean slate. When we release them, their charges are wiped clean, Topash said. Tulalip Tribal Court handles cases charged by tribal police officers there, including drug abuse and sales, driving while intoxicated, and acts of violence. But if the defendant is between the ages of 18 and 25, has never been before charged with a crime, and seems to be straddling the line that separates criminals and productive citizens, the judge can choose to turn that offender over to elder court. The court started about 3 years ago when Hatch met with tribal court judges to find a way to give tribal youth another chance. For Lori Archambault, teaching friction to her students on the Fort Belknap Reservation in Montana is as easy as showing them how to grind corn. The task helps her students at White Clay Immersion School better understand friction, in addition to learning a skill their ancestors picked up decades ago. Archambault, an Assiniboine, said her students comprehend most lessons easier when she incorporates their tribal language, history, and culture into the curriculum. She attributes the students' academic success to Native Americans teaching Native Americans, a concept that often is said to be effective but has not always been put into use on the Fort Belknap Reservation. That is beginning to change thanks to Fort Belknap Community College's teacher training program. She is one of about 25 Native American teachers there who believe Native American students perform better in schools where there are more Native American teachers for role models. Since it started in the year 2000, the program has infused Native American teachers into schools such as White Clay Immersion School and St. Paul's Indian Mission in Hays, Montana. The program, which is funded by grants, provides tuition assistance for Native Americans such as Susan Work, who said teachers pay back the loan by teaching on the reservation or in reservation schools with many Native American students. Work added that Native American students often trust a Native teacher more, which can inspire them to perform better. The program's focus is to help address two problems plaguing the state: the performance of Native American students and the lack of Native American teachers. In 2006, less than 3% of the state's teachers identified themselves as Native American, according to the Montana Office of Public Instruction. At the same time, about 11% of the state students were Native American, OPI officials said. The economic turndown doesn't seem to be affecting a new Indian casino in Shingle Springs, California, where an estimated 10,000 people turned out for opening day last week. Guests lined up at 2,000 slot machines, played at 75 gambling tables, and ate at 6 restaurants at the new Red Hawk Casino. Red Hawk's general manager, Peter Fordham, says operators believe the market is resilient. He says the casino has been well received by Sacramento residents. The Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians spent $530 million to build the casino on 160 acres of tribal land about 30 miles east of Sacramento. Another casino, Thunder Valley in Lincoln, California, last month put its expansion plans on hold because of the recession. And that is the latest roundup of Indian country news on the Native News Update. Join us again tomorrow for another edition. We want to thank our underwriters for helping us broadcast the Native News Update, and our digital mall partners, powwows.com and nativeview.com, broadcasting from Helena, Montana. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.